So you know that feeling, right? Where you understand all the English words, maybe in a sentence, but when you try to speak yourself, it just feels a bit off.
Oh, definitely. Stiff, maybe.
Mhm.
Or like you're translating word by word in your head.
Exactly that. It's such a common hurdle. Well, today we're going to cut right through that. We're talking about the secret weapon, really. Real life English phrases.
Not just words, phrases.
Right. We're diving deep into why mastering these is like a shortcut, how they make you sound more natural, more native, feel way more confident, and honestly, how they simplify actually thinking in English.
Yeah, and we've been digging into this series, Speak Like a Native, the power of English phrases.
Mm.
And wow, it's just packed with practical stuff.
Totally, like things you can use immediately.
Exactly. It breaks down this huge topic, language learning, into really simple, actionable steps. You're going to get insights you can put into practice today, for sure.
And that's basically our mission here. We want to pull out the absolute best bits, the core ideas, to give you a clear path, help you sound natural, confident,
Whether it's for a meeting or just getting up to speed on something.
or if you're just super curious. So we're going to cover the why phrases work, then which ones to focus on, how to practice them, and the big one, how to make them sound like you.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay, let's kick off with the basic problem. We learn words, right? Like apple, car, beautiful, quickly. We build this big vocabulary.
Which feels productive.
It does. But then knowing the word busy doesn't really cut it, does it? For real fluency, you need those phrases like, oh, I've got a lot on my plate right now.
Or I'm kind of tied up at the moment.
Yeah, or even just a casual, hey, can we catch up later? Those are the things that make your English sound, well, alive.
It comes down to cognitive load. That's the technical term. But basically, think about it.
Yeah.
If you're building every single sentence from scratch, word by word.
Like tiny Lego bricks.
Exactly. Lego bricks. You're worrying about the subject, the verb, the tense.
Yeah.
It's exhausting for your brain. But phrases, your brain just grabs the whole chunk like, let me think, or you know what I mean? Or to be honest.
Ah, pre-built units.
Pretty much. So the heavy lifting is already done.
Right.
Your speech gets faster, sounds way more natural, and honestly, it feels less stressful. It really is a game changer for just talking.
That makes so much sense. I remember reading that story about Anna in the source material.
Oh, Anna, the beginner.
Right. She knew words, but she spoke like, I go to ... the cinema ... yesterday. Painfully slow.
Yeah.
But then she started learning actual phrases. Things like, I ended up going to the cinema.
Or we had a blast. Simple stuff.
Simple, exact. Or even, guess what? And it said, like, within weeks, just by copying these, her English sounded, and I quote, alive, fluent, and confident.
Even though her grammar wasn't perfect yet.
Right, which is amazing. It just shows the power of these ready-made phrases.
And that's fundamentally how native speakers sound so smooth. It's not usually about super complex vocabulary. Yeah. Not really. It's about how they use collocations. You know, words that just naturally go together, plus idioms, set expressions, and those little conversation fillers.
Like, I mean, or by the way.
Exactly. Those are just fluff. They're like the connectors in real talk. And the key thing is learning them in context.
Not just lists.
Definitely not just lists.
Yeah.
Your brain remembers stories, situations. So don't just memorize, by the way. Learn it in a sentence like, by the way, did you finish that report? Context makes it stick.
Okay, so we've got the why. Phrases are powerful, they reduce brain strain, they make you sound natural. Now, let's get practical.
Yeah, the fun part.
Let's talk about some specific, simple, short phrases, but like super powerful ones natives use constantly. These aren't just about sounding correct, they're about sounding like you.
Okay, where do we start?
How about small talk? Hello, how are you? It can sound a bit formal, robotic sometimes.
Yeah, a little stiff.
So think about alternatives like, hey, what's up? Or how's it going?
Much more casual. Or long time no see.
Yeah.
That's a great one.
Totally. Or how have you been?
Right.
They're instant connection points. What's up? It isn't really asking what is up, is it? It's more like, what's new?
Yeah, or just how are things? It's an opener.
Right. And long time no see. Just perfectly bridges that gap if you haven't seen someone for a bit. Imagine running into a friend.
At a cafe or something.
Yeah. Instead of hello, you go, hey, long time no see, how you been? Boom. Instantly warm, friendly, natural.
Makes a huge difference.
Okay, next up. Giving your opinion. We all tend to default to, I think.
Guilty as charged.
Oh, yeah. But there's so much more nuance available. Try things like, to be honest.
Oh, I use that one a lot.
Me too.
Oh,
Or if you ask me, or as far as I know.
Personally, I feel that's how it went. Or the way I see it.
Exactly. And they had different flavors, right? To be honest, feels more candid, more real. Yeah.
And as far as I know, is useful because it shows you're not claiming it's a solid fact, just your current understanding.
Perfect example. To be honest, I didn't really enjoy that movie. It just lands differently than, I think I didn't like the movie.
Flows better too. Or, as far as I know, they're still working on it. Sounds natural.
Okay, how about reacting naturally? When you're surprised, just saying, really, can be a bit flat.
Yeah, lacks punch.
So bring in some emotion. Use stuff like, no way, or you're kidding.
That's crazy. Or just seriously.
Wow, that's awesome. These inject life, they keep the conversation flowing, show you're engaged.
Right. So if your friend says, I got that job.
Instead of just congratulations, which is fine, but
A bit dry.
yeah. Try, no way, that's amazing. When do you start? It's so much warmer, more personal.
Definitely. Shows real excitement.
Okay, talking about plans. Instead of a very definite, I will do this, which can sound a bit rigid,
Yeah. Bit formal sometimes.
try softer options like, I'm planning to, or I'm thinking about.
I might. That's a common one. Or I'm hoping to.
I'm supposed to is good too for things you're expected to do. They show intention or possibility without being quite so final.
Makes sense, like, I'm planning to visit my parents this weekend.
Or, I might just stay in tonight, kind of tired. That's just how people actually talk, isn't it?
Yep. Much more natural.
And what if you don't know, or you're unsure? I don't know, can sometimes feel like a dead end in conversation.
Right. It can shut things down a bit.
So try alternatives like, I'm not sure, to be honest.
Or, I'll have to check. That's useful.
Let me get back to you. Very polite. It's hard to say.
Good question. That buys you a little time, too.
Exactly. They show natural hesitation, keep things friendly, keep the door open, rather than just stopping the flow. Like if someone asks, what time does it start?
You can say, I'm not sure, I'll have to check that. Simple, polite.
Perfect. And finally, ending conversations politely. Goodbye can sometimes feel a bit abrupt.
Yeah, depending on the context.
So try smoother exits, like, anyway, I should probably get going.
All right, well, I'll catch you later. That's a classic.
Talk to you soon. Or it's
Yeah.
just great chatting with you.
Take care. Always a nice one.
Yeah. They just sound friendly, considerate, maintain that connection. You could combine them, right? Anyway, I should get going. It was great chatting. Talk soon.
Absolutely. The key with all of these is practice, right? Native speakers use them without thinking because they've heard and said them thousands of times.
So repetition is key.
Totally. And you can replicate that. The sources suggest first, just listen for them. Movies, podcasts, real conversations. Notice when people use them.
Okay. Active listening.
Second, repeat them out loud. Try to copy the intonation, the rhythm, get the feel for it.
Makes sense. Get your mouth used to the shapes.
Third, use them. With friends, language partners, even just talking to yourself in the mirror. Sounds silly, but it works.
No judgment here.
Fourth, maybe write little mini dialogues using a few new phrases. Helps solidify them.
Like putting them into action on paper first.
And fifth, just review them regularly. Look at your list, say them out loud until they become automatic. And please, don't worry about mistakes.
Ah, the fear of mistakes. It's real.
It is. But forgetting a phrase or mixing them up, that's totally normal. Every mistake is actually your brain learning, refining its map. It's part of the process, not a failure.
That's such an important point. Okay, so we've covered those core everyday phrases. Now let's go a bit deeper into what the source is called the hidden world of language.
Ooh, intriguing.
Yeah. These are the little words, the expressions that add rhythm, warmth, personality, the stuff that really makes you sound native.
Okay, I'm ready.
First up, advanced conversation fillers. Think about it. Native speakers almost never talk in perfect, clean sentences, do they?
Huh. Definitely not. There's always ums and ahs and stuff.
Exactly. They use fillers, words like well, or actually, or,
I mean, so anyway, yeah, all the
basically, literally, though sometimes not literally, kind of, or sort of, and the big one, like.
oh, like gets a bad rap sometimes, but it's everywhere in natural speech.
It is, and each has a job, right? Well, often starts a thought, actually. Adds maybe a surprising bit of info, Tries to connect with the listener.
I mean, is great for explaining or rephrasing yourself, literally. Adds emphasis, hopefully accurately.
Kind of or sort of softens things, makes opinions less harsh, and can be a pause or signal an example or approximation.
And here's the really interesting thing.
Yeah.
Even though these fillers don't add much information, they are crucial for making speech sound relaxed, spontaneous, real.
Right. Without them, you can sound a bit robotic.
Exactly. They're the oil in the conversational engine.
Love that analogy. Okay, next category. Phrases to sound polite or softer. Native speakers often avoid being too direct, don't they?
Yeah, directness can sometimes come across as rude, even if you don't mean it to.
Totally. So compare saying, I want water pretty blunt versus, could I have some water, please?
Or even softer. I'd like some water if that's okay. Much more polite.
Big difference. Other great softeners are things like, I was wondering if.
Do you happen to know? That's a really good one for asking questions politely.
I'm afraid. Perfect for giving bad news gently. It seems that.
It might be a good idea to, instead of just saying, do this.
And would you mind? Classic politeness, like instead of barking, close the window.
Which sounds awful.
Right. Just say, would you mind closing the window? Instantly friendlier, more considerate.
Huge impact with just a small change.
Then we have the fun stuff, slang and idioms. These are what make the language colorful, right?
Definitely adds personality. We're talking about things like no big deal.
Meaning, it's okay or hang out.
Just relaxing, spending time, piece of cake.
Super easy, hit the books.
Study hard, call it a day.
Stop working, love that one. I'm beat.
Really tired. Costs an arm and a leg.
Very expensive. Under the weather.
Feeling a bit sick. Break the ice.
Starting a conversation, especially with new people. Pull yourself together.
Calm down, get control. And go with the flow. Just relax. Accept things. Yeah, lots of great ones.
So why bother learning these? They can seem tricky.
Well, because they add so much. Humor, personality, that cultural flavor. They just make your English sound richer, more alive. Even knowing a few makes a difference.
And how do you practice them without sounding weird or forced?
Good question. Listen for them first, always. Hear how natives use them. Then repeat them, focusing on the sound, the intonation.
Try using one or two in conversation.
Yeah, maybe challenge yourself. Or write little dialogues. And that tip about the phrase journal is golden.
Right, not just the phrase, but the context.
Exactly. Where did you hear it? What was the situation? What was the feeling? That context helps you use it correctly later.
Like that guy Mark in the source material, his English was super formal.
I would like to inform you.
Yeah, very stiff.
Until he started that phrase notebook, added just 2 or 3 real phrases a day. And apparently his English got warmer, more relaxed, much more native-like really quickly. It works. Because these phrases, they're like social glue, they help you connect, sound friendly, confident, like you're part of the group.
And saves brain power too, right? Not building every sentence.
Absolutely. Think about the long game. You don't need hundreds overnight, even just one new phrase a day.
That's 365 in a year.
Exactly. That's how real, natural fluency builds. Small, consistent steps.
Okay, so people might be listening and thinking, right, I get it. Phrases are good. I have lists. But how do I actually use them when I'm talking?
Yeah, the real-time pressure.
And crucially, how do I sound natural, but still sound like me? Not like I'm just repeating stuff.
That's the core challenge, isn't it? Memorizing is just step one. Real fluency is about combining, personalizing, using them in the moment.
Like cooking, words or ingredients.
And phrases are like pre-made sauces or spice mixes, recipes you can adapt.
Nice. So how do natives do it? They're not consciously picking phrase A then phrase B, are they?
Not usually, no. They have like hundreds of these short chunks ready to go. You know what I mean? To be honest,
Yeah.
kinda, no way,
Just store it in their brain.
right? And they just mix and mash them in real time. It flows. Like when someone says, well, to be honest, I was kind of tired, you know? They didn't sit and plan that exact sentence.
It just comes out.
It just comes out because
Yeah.
those pieces are readily available and connect naturally.
So for learners, the trick is learning how to mix them, not just use them one by one.
Exactly. Start combining. Maybe start with a filler. Well, or,
Okay.
then add an opinion phrase. I guess
Yeah.
it could work, or to be honest, I'm not really sure.
Got it.
Then maybe throw in a reaction. No way. Or that's awesome. Layering them creates that natural rhythm.
And finding your own style is key here too.
Absolutely crucial. You don't have to use every single idiom or filler. Which ones feel comfortable? Which ones match the you want to be in English? Funny, polite, direct, confident.
And personalizing them slightly.
Yes. Go beyond the textbook. Instead of just, I think it's a good idea, maybe try. Well, to be honest, I kind of think it could work. See? Same core idea, but it sounds more like you.
I like that. It feels more authentic.
And a great practice tip for this is voice diaries.
Voice diaries. Tell me more.
Just record yourself talking for a few minutes each day about your day, your thoughts, anything, no script.
Just talking freely.
Yeah. And consciously try to sprinkle in some of these phrases, to be honest, and then kind of just naturally weave them in. Over time, they become automatic.
Makes sense. Practice makes permanent.
And remember those softeners. Using I'm not sure about that instead of you're wrong makes a world of difference in sounding friendly.
Avoid sounding too direct or confrontational.
Exactly. You could even layer that. I see your point, but I'm not completely convinced, to be honest. See how polite but clear that is.
Yeah, that flows really well. Filler, softener, opinion.
You got it. Well, I guess it depends on the weather, But wow, really, that sounds awesome. Just sounds like real conversation.
And it highlights that sounding natural isn't necessarily about sounding advanced with big words.
Not at all. Native speakers use simple phrases constantly. It was fun. Not really. Kind of. The key is the rhythm, the confidence, the connection.
Like Maria's story. Knew grammar perfectly, but spoke slowly.
Right. Until she started listening actively to podcasts, writing down phrases she genuinely liked.
And using them.
And soon she was faster, interrupting naturally with, well, actually, reacting with, no way, that's crazy. She felt more confident, more alive in English.
So more practice ideas. Watching short clips and repeating.
Definitely. Shadowing is huge, speaking along with the speaker. It trains your mouth and ears together like nothing else.
Writing conversations. Teaching a friend.
All great ways to reinforce learning. And again, let's just hit that fear of mistakes one more time.
Please do. It holds so many people back.
Fluency is not about perfection.
Yeah.
It's about communication. It's about speaking even when you're not 100% sure.
Getting the message across.
Exactly. And what's really empowering is realizing your voice matters. English is just a tool. Your accent, your way of phrasing things, that's part of you. Don't try to erase it. Embrace it.
That's a powerful message. Okay, let's shift gears slightly. Thinking in English. That's like the holy grail for many learners, isn't it?
It really is. That constant translation in your head.
It slows you down, causes mistakes, makes you nervous.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But building that think in English skill isn't magic. It's step by step.
Okay, break it down for us.
Start super simple. Just silently name things around you. Desk, lamp, tree.
Just labeling.
Yeah. Then describe simple actions you're doing. I'm walking. I'm drinking water. Then ask yourself easy questions in English. What's for dinner? Where are my keys?
Building internal chatter.
Exactly. A daily inner monologue. Narrate your day, your feelings, your plans, silently in English. It feels clunky at first, but it gets easier surprisingly quickly.
And this is where phrases help again, right? For thinking faster.
Huge help. Because instead of building the thought, I do not have any knowledge about that,
Yeah.
your brain just grabs the chunk. I have no idea.
Or, I guess so. Skips the translation step.
Precisely.
Okay.
Frees up so much mental energy.
Makes sense. What about training your ears? Real speech is so different from textbook audio.
Oh, yeah. It's fast, it's connected, words get mushed together.
Like, what do you want to do? Instead of, what do you want to do?
Exactly. Linking, reductions like gonna for going to, plus all those fillers it can be overwhelming.
So how do you tune your ears to it?
Consistency is key.
Yeah.
Listen every single day, even just 10 minutes. Choose real content, podcasts, YouTube, movies, whatever interests you.
Not just textbook stuff.
Right. And crucially, don't stress about understanding every single word. Aim for the overall meaning, the gist.
And listen for phrases, not just words.
Yes. Notice the chunks people use repeatedly.
And shadowing comes in here too, doesn't it?
It's perfect for this. Listen and speak simultaneously. Start by pausing and repeating, then try speaking right along with the audio.
Trains the ears and mouth together.
In perfect sync. Remember Tom's story? Frustrated grammar student, couldn't understand movies.
Yeah, started watching 5 minutes a day, writing phrases, shadowing.
And bam. 6 months later, huge improvement in comprehension, faster speech. He felt part of the language.
That's amazing. It really shows the power of consistent, focused practice.
And emotion. Don't forget emotion. Your brain remembers what feels important or interesting. If you're bored, you won't retain much. Find stuff you genuinely enjoy.
So connecting this all together, it's about integration, right? Making English part of daily life.
Exactly. Small habits every day. They beat one massive study session a week. Every time.
So like 5-10 minutes listening.
Yep. Talking to yourself in English while you make coffee.
Keeping that phrase notebook handy.
Reading a news headline out loud. Teaching your friend a cool idiom you learned. All small things. Huge cumulative impact.
I love that idea of talk to yourself, talk to the world. Those little internal chats. Okay, what's next? Or, maybe I'll go for a walk.
That's your brain. Learning to live in English. It's powerful stuff.
And celebrating the small wins. Using a new phrase successfully. Catching a lyric in a song.
Absolutely. Acknowledge that progress. Fluency isn't one giant leap. It's hundreds of those small victories strung together.
Fantastic.
And always, always remember, your English is your voice. The goal isn't perfection. It's sounding like you warm, real, alive. English is a tool.
To connect, make friends, watch movies, travel.
Share your unique thoughts. Every phrase you learn just opens another door.
So wrapping this all up, what have we really unpacked here? We've seen why phrases trump single words, hands down.
Yeah, less brain strain, more natural flow.
We've looked at tons of everyday phrases, fillers, idioms, softeners, the real nuts and bolts.
And crucially, how to practice them so they stick.
Plus those deeper skills. Thinking directly in English, training your ears for real speech.
For building those small daily habits for ongoing growth.
So what it all boils down to is English isn't just study. It's living. It's weaving it into your day.
Spot on. And don't feel you need to grab every phrase we mentioned today. Start your own personal phrase bank.
Like, pick 5 or 10 you really like.
Exactly. Ones that resonate with you. Use them until they feel natural, then add a few more. Build it organically.
And make it emotional, right? Connect phrases to feelings or situations.
That helps lock it in memory. And just one last time. Communication over perfection. Always.
Fluency isn't about 0 mistakes.
Nope. It's about speaking, even when it's messy. Getting your ideas across. Feeling free, not frozen.
I love that. Feeling free. Your English is your story, isn't it?
Beautifully put.
You're not just repeating words someone else taught you. You're sharing your feelings, your dreams, your humor, how you see the world. That's what makes it valuable.
Absolutely.
So, final thought for everyone listening. Keep speaking. Even when it feels scary or awkward, keep listening. Even when it feels too fast. And try to love the process, not just the end goal. Because honestly, every small step you take, every phrase you try out, that is success. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be brave enough to keep going.